Welcome to what's fast becoming Fortress Stoneyhill, where Musselburgh welcome local rivals Lasswade. Musselburgh have yet to be unbeaten at home this season, and not even second place Howe 5 could put a dent in that track record a couple of weeks ago. But for today's game, for Musselburgh, it's all about putting to bed that narrow defeat by Hoyk YM last weekend and putting their championship campaign back on track. For Lasswade though, today's game's a must win, and sitting on 20 points behind Musselburgh on 25, beating the leaders today could keep them in check with the top 5 teams, but more importantly could keep Lasswade's promotional aspirations very much alive. So hold on to your hat, folks, because this looks like it's going to be a cracker for the next 80 minutes. We now hand over to the referee, Colin Reevesy, who takes up the proceedings for the next 80 minutes.
And a cracking day for rugby for both running and kicking. Let's hope we see a mixture of both. And in charge today is 48-year-old borderer Colin Reevesy. He used to play for Peebles and latterly Gala YM, but he plied his trade in the front row as a hooker. And they also tell me he was a former chef of the Peebles Hydro, so let's hope he can help those two teams serve a tasty spectacle of rugby up this afternoon. David O'Hagan gets things underway. Nice kick-off there. Diggy Grant collects, but unfortunately knocks it on. And Donald Hearn just makes sure that play can't carry on and kicks it out of sight. So the ref pulls him back. Line out here for Lasswade, inside the 22. Musselburgh get it though. Ball comes out to Leach. Leach to O'Hagan. Out to Gahan. He takes it in, he's caught and tackled. The Musselburgh forwards rally round. Quick recycle ball again. Comes back out. And the ball's taken back in. Lasswade valiant in defence here. Quick ball again. Musselburgh forwards taking it back in. Recycling it again. The ball retention's pretty good here. And David O'Hagan, and he slips the ball back inside to James Murray, and he's through. He slips the tackle of Mark Wilson as well, and he's across the line. That's a beautifully worked try there from Musselburgh. Just shows you that if you persevere, it pays off. Eventually he sucked a few tacklers in, and David O'Hagan taking the kick here just to the right of the post. He's got a pretty good track record at the boot, this boy, and that one's no exception. So it's Lasswade 0, Musselburgh 7. So Lasswade scrum on their own 22. Ball goes in from Clark. Oh, that's some scrum there from Musselburgh. And Kyle McKinnon, his head popped up there like a gun turret in the Lasswade scrum. Ball comes back to Musselburgh though. Out to Cook, but he can't hold it, and he's tackled up. He's wrapped up there, and the ref's blown up. Lasswade player not releasing in the tackle. I'm not sure who's the culprit, but there's a potential opportunity for somebody as sure-footed as David O'Hagan. It's just on the 22 and more or less in front of the post. This Irish fella has been a great find for Musselburgh. He's a local development officer too, so he brings a lot to the club. Steadies himself, and that's no problem at all. He just pops that one between the sticks, and it's 3 points more on the board for Musselburgh. With Musselburgh 10, Lasswade 0. Musselburgh scrum here, just inside their 10-metre line. Ball goes in from Leach, and Lasswade not making it easy for them, disrupting that scrum. And Stevie Ketching can't get his hands on it, but Leach feeds it out to O'Hagan, and he's out to Gahan, who hands off Kyle Smith, and he pops the ball outside to James Murray, who goes outside. Niall Gray, he draws him across the lovely inside pass there to the captain James Doig. Left everybody for dead there. They just pulled the Lasswade backs across the width of the pitch until the hole started to appear, and in popped James Doig on the inside of James Murray's shoulder. Lovely work try there by Musselburgh. That big fella there, Gahan, had a lot to do with it as well. So David O'Hagan on the right hand side of the pitch. Just a wee chip, but a very good chip at that. Straight between the sticks, nice and low. It's Musselburgh 17, Lasswade 0. Hennessy restarts. Musselburgh collect. Stevie Ketching hands off Donald Hearn. Oh, James Elliott puts a tackle in there, and he's a bit of Stoneyhill roadkill for a second there. Young takes it back in. Musselburgh recycling. Oh, but the ref's pulling up. Somebody's been holding the ball on the ground. Musselburgh trying too hard to retain possession there. And given where this penalty is, it represents a good location for Gav Brown to possibly get Lasswade out the blocks. It's a pretty routine kick for this for him, between the halfway and the 10 metre line. It's just off centre. And he strikes that well. Oh, but he's pulled it to the right of the post. Not the best of starts on the kicking debut today. Musselburgh's line out here, just about 5 metres off Lasswade's try line. Ball goes in, lovely take. Forwards consolidate. Here comes the drive. Reardon's in the middle there. I think he's got a hold of the ball carrier. The ball goes to ground. A few forwards peeling off. And Fleming says he wants the ball, he gets the ball. He goes back into Donald Hearn defends well there. And Musselburgh still in possession. Ball comes back out. Ross goes back in. Retains the ball. Ball comes out the right to O'Hagan. To Gahan. Gahan rumbles up the park. He's tackled and taken to the ground by 2 men by Hennessy. O'Hagan goes into scrum half. He comes left to Hutchison, who takes it up, trucks it up. The last way boy, the line, and launching the ball there. Not rolling away in the tackle. Colin Reevely. Oh, but Leach is gone. He's gone for a quick tap penalty. Reardon's managed to pull him to the ground, but I don't think the Lasswade players have retreated 10 metres. So he blows up again and gives Musselburgh the chance. The penalty just 5 metres from the try line. And I think when David O'Hagan picks up the ball, it means he's going to go for the sticks. And that's what he's doing. Lasswade just can't afford to make mistakes within kicking range of this lad. For that very reason, there's another 3 points on the board. Just now Musselburgh 20, Lasswade 0. Musselburgh line out. It's taken by Ketchin to Veach. To O'Hagan. Oh, it's a double miss. James Murray coming into the line. He pops it to Doig, the captain, who's wrapped up. And it's Gahan. Hands off Matt Wilson. Kyle Smith misses the tackle, but he's brought down in the end. And Musselburgh forwards are there. And it's Veach again. That's Fleming. He pops the ball up again. God, the Musselburgh forwards are running rampant here just now. Great attention from them. Leach comes left to Murray, to Gahan, to Hook, and Hook goes down the wing, pops the ball back inside to Doig, and Doig's wrapped up by 2 men. That's a great bit of defensive play from Dougie Hearn there, getting back. The ball comes back from Ross. The forwards are trucking up to 5 metres off Lasswade's try line here. Lasswade's defence is frantic, but so far they've kept him out. O'Hagan, and that's Cook. Oh, he's well tackled there though. Beautifully tackled there by James Elliott. A terrier-like tackle. And the ball comes out, and it's going to be a try for Ketchin. He was just too quick there for Reardon. That was a fantastic bit of combined forwards and backs interactive play there between the two units. And David O'Hagan's got an opportunity to put another 2 points in the sticks here on the right hand side of the post. He strikes that well. And it's a conversion. Another 2 points to Musselburgh. It's 27 points to 0. Donald Hearn counter rucking there. Oh, I think Neil Clark stepped in from the side and Leach is away. He's probably going to go on his own, I think. And he pops it back inside to Gahan on the angle. He pops between the sticks and puts 5 points on the board for Musselburgh unchallenged there. Lasswade must be wondering what happened. They were totally caught on the hop. And David O'Hagan's in front of the sticks. They don't come in easier for this man. And that was a definite 2 points without question there. So it's Lasswade 0, Musselburgh 34. Lasswade yet to get out of the blocks. Musselburgh pretty much in the driving seat now, and that man there is punishing them with the boot as well. He's hardly missed a thing, in fact nothing at all so far. So Sinclair throws in for Lasswade. Overthrows it though. Ball goes to the ground. Oh, but Dougie Hearn picks it up well. And he hands off Ross and he's off. He shows him a clean pair of heels, but he's tackled. Neil Clarkson support, but he can't get there quick enough. But Doig takes off from Musselburgh down the pitch. He steps inside Mark Billingham. Oh, that was a great tackle by Mark Billingham. That's one for him to remember for quite some time. It's not often a prop forward gets his hands on a full back on a 1-to-1, but there you go. So the ball spills out. Lasswade's managed to rob it back. Clark goes on his own. He steps inside Ketchin. He hands off O'Hagan. Takes a bit of pulling down, I'll tell you. He goes to the ground. Gav Brown's there on support, but Musselburgh's got it sealed off. Ball pops back out. He's wrapped up by Dougie Grant. Ball goes to ground. It's Musselburgh in possession inside their own 22 at the moment. Ball's kicked down the park, but it's not going to touch. And Mark Wilson collects that, passes it to Neil Murray, and passes it back to Mark Wilson. Mark Wilson to Kyle Smith, and it's out to Niall Gray, and Niall Gray's going to show them a clean pair of heels. I can't believe he's actually just beaten James Murray to the chase there, but at the end of the day it was forwards versus back when he crossed the try line. A well taken try there by Niall Gray. That was a good pair of possession there for Lasswade. And Gavin Brown here taking the conversion just about 2 or 3 yards in from the touchline on the left hand side of the pitch. A bit awkward for left foot to see if we can do it or not. Steadies himself. He hasn't struck it very well. In fact, he's actually pulled it to the left of the post, so he's yet to open his kicking account this afternoon. Okay, it's Lasswade 5, Musselburgh 34. Musselburgh possession here. Balls out, and O'Hagan puts a crossfield kick in there behind Niall Gray, and there's James Murray waiting. Oh, he just turns him inside out and takes off, shows him the afterburners, and he's touching the ball down the far side of the pitch. That's a lovely bit of play there. He's such a well balanced runner, James Murray, you know. He's just really hard to mark. He's not the biggest of fellas, but that's probably one of his key characteristics. He's quite nimble, and you can just see that flag blowing there in the background behind the ball where David Hagan's about to kick. A bit of a breeze starting to get up, but it's right on the touchline. Shouldn't be a problem for him though. Oh, he's missed it. Maybe he is human after all. That'll be the first one he's missed today though, so there's no shame to him. And with a half-time score of Musselburgh 39 to Lasswade 5, and with 40 minutes of rugby still to come, it's hard to see how Lasswade can claw their way back into this game and salvage some sort of a win out of it, especially when the home side are in such prolific form. Line out in the Musselburgh try line, 5 metres out. Lasswade take the ball. Donald Hearn catches and drives. That's a great drive to the Lasswade forwards, and they've really got the Musselburgh pack on the back foot here. Reardon's got the ball in hand, and they're across the line, and he pops the ball down. That's a cracking try there from the Lasswade forwards. The boys have got to be happy with that. It's been a long time coming, mind. They've been under the cosh from the Musselburgh pack for the first 40 minutes. That's Lasswade maybe trying to turn the screw a little bit and claim a bit back for themselves. A good try taken there. And Gavin Brown has the great honour bestowed upon him to try and pop this over the sticks. It's just 3 or 4 metres out from the touchline on the left hand side of the pitch. Not his favourite side of the pitch when you're a left footer. Nevertheless, he's done it before. I'm sure he can do it again. Oh, and he's given that a bit of a howk, and it's drifted left to the post. He's going to be getting frustrated by this. He's yet to open his account with the boot this afternoon. That's 3 attempts so far. Musselburgh. Oh, it's actually a Lasswade line out. Just inside their 10 metre line. Sinclair throws in. Overthrows it slightly. Oh, and Ross takes it. He gets tackled. Nicely tackled too by Elliott. Ball comes back. Popped up, and Cat's catching again. That's number 2, just bagged himself a brace of tries this afternoon. One more, I tell you, he's on the jugs, and he's congratulated by Brierley. These forwards are thicker than thieves, you know, when it comes to scoring tries. He hands the ball to David Hagan, who's got a pretty simple task in front of him, of popping it between the sticks, and as you'd expect, it's no problem at all. So it's Musselburgh 46, Lasswade 10. Benny Hennessy takes the restart, getting his forwards back on side. It's a nice high floated ball for the boys to get under, but Musselburgh get there first, and they retain the ball. Ball goes to ground, secure it. Ball comes out to Hagan. Oh, back inside. Oh, that's to James Doig on the inside ball there, and Borthwick's tracking him back, but he passes it off to Cook, and Cook's not going to go unnoticed though by Mark Wilson, who just drags him down 5 metres short of the line. Oh, and he pops it out to guess who? Stevie Ketchen. He's just bagged himself a hat-trick of tries this afternoon. That's a fantastic effort for him. He's got to be pleased with that, and Musselburgh will be pleased with that as well. They've just taken the scoreline up to 51 points to 10, and O'Hagan's got the kick here just to the left of the post. He's good side for a right footer. Strikes it beautifully, and that's not a problem at all. Clark puts the ball in for Lasswade. Musselburgh wheel it round. Reardon pops it out to Elliott. To Kyle Smith. Back to Elliott. Misses out Mark Wilson. Pops the ball out to Jimmy Blackwood. He draws his man. And Niall Gray goes on the inside. He steps inside Gahan. And Cook brings him down. The ball's retained though. Lasswade show and go. That's Elliott. And there's no 10 at home, but there's Bernie Hennessy. And they're skimming for it on the far side of the pitch here. And it's Gar Brown. Oh, he gathers himself together. He flicks that switch. Oh, it doesn't work anymore, but he still makes it into the corner. And that's another try for Lasswade. That's the third one today. And Dougie Grant gives him a hand up so he can go back and take the kick. Although it looks as though Bernie Hennessy's asked if he can take over for a second. See if he can do any better from this side of the pitch. So Bernie Hennessy in the driving seat. Quite gusty there as you see with that flag. He strikes it beautifully, but I think he just glanced it across the front of the post. So it's still 53 points to 15 to Musselburgh. Musselburgh line out in the Lasswade 22. Brierley throwing in. Ball's trucked up. Tackle just in front of the Lasswade's post in 22. Some lovely counter-rucking by Lasswade there. But Colin Reevely's blown up. He says that the Lasswade boys were being a bit overzealous and they were off their feet obviously in the rucking situation. And it's a penalty to Musselburgh. And guess who steps up? Yep, it's David O'Hagan. Quite an easy number here in front of the sticks. And he drives a nail into the coffin of this Lasswade performance this afternoon with that kick again. So that takes the score to 56 points to 15. And it's a scrum to Lasswade on Musselburgh's 22. And Clark goes to put the ball in, but Colin Reevely's stopped him. He says something to do with the dark arcs in the front row wasn't pleasing him on the Lasswade side certainly. So Musselburgh get our stave execution, and O'Hagan pops the ball out. And referee Colin Reevely calls time, and in doing so he rubber stamps Musselburgh's authority on this game as they run out winners over Lasswade by 56 points to 15, and they put themselves back in the driving seat of the RBS Championship League B. Not only that, but I think Musselburgh may just have extinguished the flame of Lasswade's promotional chances for this season in what was a must-win game for them. But full credit must go to Lasswade for their never-say-die response in the second half. They produced some lovely rugby and open play at times, which had the Musselburgh defence stretched, but on too many occasions they failed to turn that pressure into points where it so clearly mattered. Lasswade will get a chance to redress the balance when they welcome Musselburgh to Hawthorn in February, but for now the plaudits lie with Musselburgh, but more importantly, so do the points.
You join us here with Brian Hughes, the coach for Musselburgh. Brian, a pretty good day at the office today. You must be pretty happy with how the boys performed.
No, I was fairly impressed over the game. I thought the first 20 minutes to half an hour I thought were outstanding. We kept the ball well, quick, clean ball, and it was difficult to defend against any team when you're getting the ball as quick as that. You guys, obviously, I thought you guys played really well in the second half. You got us all back into the game. I think a couple of injury stats, and maybe the sin bin and kind of knocked their structure slightly, but it was two teams that wanted to play rugby. It was entertaining stuff.
And Grant Alex obviously got your forwards well drilled. I mean, they dealt last week with a masterclass in the scrum in the first 20 or 30 minutes there.
Yes, we had a tough day at the office last week doing a hike. I think it was kind of payback time. I think we knew we didn't perform last week, and it was always a mindset to make sure that we at least were set piece and our forwards fired up some good ball first and foremost. So we achieved that today.
You needed that win today, really, didn't you? Just to put that Hoyt game behind you and put your championship campaign back on the road.
Yeah, no, the Hoyt game was one of these kind of games last week, and I don't know if you guys have been at Hoyt yet, but it's like playing a postage stamp, and Hoyt mastered that pitch to a tee. They've got it off to a tee, and there'll not many teams take points off from doing there. But no, we've learned for that. We've picked ourselves back up, dusted ourselves doing hard weeks training, back to basics, and we like to try and play a kind of a continuity between backs and forwards, and it's kind of what we got today.
That was quite evident today. Actually, there was quite a good bit of good interaction play going on between your forwards and your backs.
Yeah, we're strong. We've got although we're strong in the set piece, we're handling skills throughout the park. They can all handle the ball. They all like to carry the ball, and it shows. If you've got guys that all looking to carry the ball, it's a lot easier to create quick stuff.
And David Hagan a great day at the boot as well.
Oh, Dave's always kind of very rarely has an off day with the boot. He marshals the troops well, moans quite a bit, but he's a good 10. There's many a club would like to have a 10 like Dave.
And James Mitchell, gassed to burn.
James Murray.
Sorry, gassed to
No,
burn.
James has been outstanding for us the last couple of seasons. The guy he's just got class written over him. You could play him anywhere. He's one of the kind of guys you'd love to have been when you were a player yourself. You could play him anywhere in the park, and he's just outstanding. His work rate's huge, quick feet, pace, defends well. No, the guy's just class.
Well, Brian, that's you overwhelmed your local rivals today. You've got Morgan next week, no the bottom of the league, but make sure it's not a banana skin for you.
I think there's the way we look at this league, when there's nine a given here, and we'll just keep on plodding along, keep on trying to rack up points, and we'll just take it from there.
Brian, thanks very much for
Okay, thank you.
I'm joined by Ian Barr, Lasswade's president. Ian, Lasswade came off second best in a local derby that was well contested today.
Certainly did, Scott. I think we came down here sort of fairly confident. I think there were a few guys back from injury, but I think it was pretty obvious Musselburgh looked the hungrier side from the very start, and they played some expansive rugby. I think they threw the ball around. They got I suppose a fairly lucky break in the first half, and the ball went to hand. A good try under the post, which certainly boosted their confidence. And I think for around 20 minutes or so, Lasswade were chasing around in defence and not able to get their hands on the ball. And you've played rugby as long as I have. It's a very difficult game to play when you've not got the ball.
On the plus side though, in the second half, the last 20 or 30 minutes of the game, there was some fantastic interactive play between forwards and backs, especially in the tight side and the touchline. Boys just making the best of the living off scraps and doing quite well out of it. Okay, not tying pressure into points, but there's some really good positive stuff came out of that.
Oh, definitely. I think it's a prime example there, as I was saying earlier on. You know, if you've not got the ball, you can't play rugby. And I think the second half we stuck in a wee bit. We started competing in the rucks and mauls, winning some 50-50 ball, and we showed when we got our hands on the ball. Yeah, certainly that the forwards were pretty dangerous, and we got some ball out the backs. Unlucky not to get the bonus point. Just a wee bit unfortunate that 2 or 3 times on the line and just didn't quite manage to finish it off. So yeah, a lot of positives. Obviously deeply disappointed that we didn't win the local derby. I think the guys will be kind of smarting a wee bit at the level of the score. I don't think there was that much difference between the teams. You had a confident team that everything was coming off for them, and you had a team that
let's not take away from Musselburgh though. They're a pretty tidy outfit and they're sitting top of the league, so they demonstrated that today.
Oh, definitely. I think when you saw we've got some fast laddies playing for Lasswade. Our two young wingers are pretty quick, but I have to say that young lad from Musselburgh, I think James Murray, when he got the ball there, no arguing with pure pace. He just wrong-footed the defence and round he went.
Well, his first try, for example, he went round the outside and Niall Bay like he was standing still.
Exactly.
And Niall's no slouch.
No, you're absolutely right, and I think that their forwards, as you said, played as a controlled unit. They gave us trouble in the scrum. They wouldn't let us get any clean line-out ball. They competed well in the loose. And when you've got a platform like that, I think their standoff was pretty steady. Obviously, the big lad at 13 played really well. Yeah. And their wingers, the young lad Jamie Murray, a fantastic threat. So yeah, they'll be, I think, probably there or thereabouts come the end of the season. And I think we've just got to go back and regroup. There is a lot of rugby in Lasswade. I think the guys will be disappointed, and we'll probably lift it next week for a home game against Peebles.
Peebles next week. Looking forward to that.
Definitely, and there's lots of different things going on there. Not only is it the first time we've played Peebles in a league game for a long time, but they've got Peter Wright coaching. Colin Brown is his assistant, so there's a big link there between Lasswade and Peebles, and I'm sure the guys will want to get one over on them. We're back at home, so I think the guys will be hurting from that one today. Fair play to Musselburgh. I think the best team won, but the guys will be probably up for Peebles at home next week and try and bounce straight back.
Ian, hard lines. Look forward to seeing you guys again at Hawthorn down next week, and let's hope for a win against Peebles.
Thanks very much, Scott. Cheers. Thank you. Cheers.